With 4,500 acres of land under his supervision, Sledge Taylor, a fifth-generation farmer in Como, Mississippi, has been a farming staple in his community with Buckeye Farms. As Sledge has grown his operation, he has continued to lean on these basic fundamental farming principles: no-till farming, healthy soils, and cover crops. These have been his foundation and the reason he has had so much success in agriculture and the reason he is considered a soil champion in Mississippi.
Well, some of the soil that we farm has some slope to it, so we began no-tilling on those soils back about 1985 was the first year of no-till for us. And we kind of played with it for about 10 years and learned about it. And we've slowly increased our no-till acreage. To last year, 90% of the crop we planted was no-till.
No-till farming is an agricultural technique for growing crops or pasture land without disturbing the soil through tillage. Some benefits include less soil erosion, more fertile soils, and good crop yields. Even with success as a no-till farmer, Taylor went the extra mile to plant cover crops on his field. That practice has done wonders for him.
We've done cover crops off and on for the years, but the last several years I've really realized the importance of the cover crop. I kind of thought no-till was the answer or the key to our healthy soil, but I've really come to realize that the cover crops are as critical, if maybe not more so, than the no-till. Well, a cover crop would be, I guess, for us, since we grow crops during the summer months, a cover crop would be something that we plant in the fall and that would grow all during the winter and spring. And so basically you're keeping something green and growing 12 months out of the year, or as close to 12 months out of the year as you can. In the past, we've probably only been planting about 1/8 of our crop acreage to cover crops, but this past year in 2020, I really kind of got the cover crop fever, and we planted about 50%, or in fact maybe just a hair over 50% of our land in cover crop. One of the key reasons you would plant cover crops is to increase the organic matter in your soil, which would in turn increase the water infiltration and water holding capacity of your soil. I really think with these no-till practices and the cover crops, we get an extra week. We can go about 3 weeks before we see noticeable dryness, and a lot of times in that third week you'll get a rain. So it's really helped us because we've got a lot of soil a lot of fields that we can't irrigate. So that's really helped us on these places that we couldn't irrigate. Well, some of the management things that I've learned over the years on no-till and cover crops is you just have to be patient. And it's very frightening the first time you go out and try no-till, and you're thinking to yourself, I've got one shot to get this crop up, and what if it doesn't come up or whatever. But once you do it, it's like anything else. You can read as much as you want, you can talk to people as much as you want, but until you actually do it yourself, you're not going to understand, and it just takes a little bit of experience. And also, it's going to take a little time to see results. You're not going to see great results the first year. It's going to take several years before you kind of see a cumulative result. But I would just say try it, be patient, and know that the process works.
When I first came to Panola County, I would always hear so many wonderful things about Mr. Sledge.
Sledge Taylor is an early adopter of soil conservation practices, natural resource improvements on his farm. He is a leader in several industries throughout the ag sector in North Mississippi, but nationwide, really.
We were able to meet Sledge Taylor through a soil health grant that we had a few years ago, and we noticed real fast that Sledge was the poster child of soil health in Mississippi.
It's so exciting when we see producers like Mr. Taylor who are not only utilizing practices, but really understand the benefits that they're receiving from them.
And he's also a participant in my conservation stewardship program, and it's awarding him for being a top steward of the land. So what this program does is we look at what he's currently doing to conserve and conservation-wise, and we kind of enhanced it, and he just took it and ran with it.
His practices stand out so much compared to other things that you see in his area. His willingness to evolve and share the information in which he has developed on his farm is outstanding.
It's so authentic when we can see producers that aren't just putting practices in the ground to put them in the ground, but they really value the stewardship of those practices. They really value the conservation that comes with them in terms of protecting soil, protecting water, and protecting their land investment so they can farm today, but they can farm tomorrow and for a lot longer.
Soil conservation is a real passion of mine, and just knowing that we have the resources available to help us is just a big, just knowing the NRCS is there with their technical advice and funding, it's a big relief just to know that we can get help. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to get the help every time you need it, but it's there, and you know, funds are limited just like everything else, but it's certainly great to have them there, and I appreciate the relationship I've had over the years with NRCS.